Hi! Gosh, I'm so glad to see you. Welcome. Sometimes in life we make mistakes and we can't go back and fix them. But you know what? In soaping, we can. One example is rebatching of soap. Now, in this particular example, these are shavings from bevelings. They are curls from cleaning up soaps. Some are pieces of soaps that, batches that didn't turn out quite the way I wanted, right? Maybe the fragrance wasn't what I wanted, or maybe the color didn't turn out. Maybe they just didn't look like a great soap, or they just didn't sell. Right? So in those cases, you can rebatch. Now, looking at this pot, you can see I have it ridiculously overfilled. And that's intentional, because I'm really wanting to make a lot. Our wonderful friend Renee at Soaps for Love made me realize that I could do a bit more. So what I'm doing here is I'm rebatching so that I can give this. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I just added a little bit of distilled water to this just to get it started. Now you may see other people who make their soap batches and they start with small shavings, and I generally do too. But this time I left in some really big chunks. Now why would I do that? Well, because I want this soap to have a little bit of personality. I want to see some of those other colors and those chunks in the soap. I've made other soaps like that in the past, and I really like them. I like a soap that shows you what it was before. Now, there is certainly room for rebatches that are strictly shavings, and you want it to be very smooth and be something new. And this is going to be something new. I'm going to add some of my wonderful cedar to it, powdered cedar, and then I'm going to add a wonderful cedar essential oil to this as well, to really make it Christmassy. And I'm adding a bit of balsam and a little bit of fir to it as well. So this is going to be a very Christmassy kind of scent. And just bear with me. It's going to be messy. Now you can see there it's a little chunky. And I'm coming back about every 20 to 30 minutes and stirring it. But now that it has melted down a bit, I'm just hitting it with my stick blender just to break up some of the bigger chunks. And I know it's not a pretty color right now. Bear with me, it gets better, I promise. When I said it's messy, it doesn't have to be messy. It's because I overfilled this. I wanted to make a really large batch. If I had a second crock pot, I would have split this. So what I'll do is I will just spend a little more time stick blending this, put the lid back on it, and let it cook for another 30 minutes. I'm doing all this on warm, and then I'll turn it down to, actually, when I finish with the stick blender here, I'll turn it down to warm. It's currently on low, and I'll turn it down to warm and put the lid on it and let it sit here for about another 30 minutes to an hour before I go to the next step. So after about an hour, I decided to hit it with the hand blender. Just whip some air into this, puff it up a bit. It helps to break up some of those larger chunks that I put in there, but it also incorporates a bit of air in it. So we'll end up with us a rather floaty soap. Just something fun. So I'm going to be coloring this. I'm starting out here with a little spirulina. I was going to go with just the juniper, but I really wanted to make sure that the green set into this because rebatches can be a little more challenging, at least for me, to color. So I'm starting with a little spirulina. And I'm just going to pour it in a little at a time and incorporate it. And I just continue to do this over and over again. And as you're well aware, this pot is really full. So every time I add some of this liquid to it, it's getting fuller and fuller. Well, you get the idea. So I decided to add in, there's my juniper, but I also added in a little wheatgrass too. I wanted to really give the green some depth. So with the spirulina, the wheatgrass, and the juniper, first of all, it's going to be a fantastic soap, right, on the skin, can you imagine? But also, it really will help to create a customized green without using anything artificial. So this is it. I'm now getting it just ready to start pouring into my molds. This is just how I want it. Now again, mine's going to have some chunks in it, some, blocks of different color. You may not like that. And if not, first of all, make sure you stick with light colors. I added a few in here that were a little divergent, but mostly it's all the same. And cut it down really fine, grate it really fine, and that way you don't have to worry about those chunks. Me, I don't mind them. And because it is so thick, you really have to bang it down into the molds. And you're going to get some air pockets on occasion. It's just the nature of doing it like this, of doing a rebatch like this. And again, if you cut it really fine, the smaller the better, the less chance you'll have of air pockets. But if you have chunks in it like mine do, one of those can get in the corner and sometimes create a small gap or something like that. For me, it's not a problem, but if that's something that bothers you, you might not want to do that. But I'm not selling these anyway. So I just continued filling my containers. I ended up being able to do this large slab mold and 2 loaf molds. So I was very pleased with the amount of volume I was able to get. And as such, I was able to create a lot of soap. So I just put the dividers in this one, and I only had to wait on these about 8 hours, and they were ready to unmold. Isn't that great? And they're ready to use. Well, not really. They take a little time just for all that moisture to evaporate, so you don't want to use them right away. They would not last you very long in the shower. Let these sit for a week or two before you use them. And of course I couldn't help myself. So I covered them in ground juniper berries and juniper leaves. I just really wanted to carry that green all the way through. After all, they smell like Christmas. They should look like a Christmas tree, right? Well, it's cutting time again. I'm gonna slice you. Yeah. Now the green doesn't show up as well in this video as it does in person. I don't know why. I really need color correction on my camcorder. Maybe it's the lighting, I'm not sure. But these are green. They're a very nice mossy green, and I love them. I really do. And now is simply the unmolding of the bars in the slab mold. So I let these sit in the mold a little longer and took them out the next day, and you can see the green shows up much better in daylight. Don't know why. I guess artificial light truly isn't all that great, is it? So, actually, I had to leave midway through this because I had another baby goat being born. And that's more important than soap making. Hard to believe that there's something more important than soap making to me, but there is. And I hope you all enjoyed this. If nothing else, I hope you can see that you can remake your mistakes. You can fix things, at least as far as soaping goes. Now, as I stated, see the chunks? I leave those intentionally. Now, you may not like that. If you don't worry about it. Just cut it really fine and use similar colors, but I kind of like it. But I just stacked them up here just so you could see how much soap I got out of that. Pretty impressive, isn't it? And these aren't little bars. They're good size bars. And yeah, I like them. I really do. So thank you all so much. I really appreciate you. If you get a chance, try some rebatching of soap. It really can be a lot of fun. Have a great day, everyone, and I look forward to seeing you later. Goodbye.